Hi, I'm Simon Trinder. Welcome to The Actorvist. I've been an actor for 20 years and I don't have all the answers by any means. I just enjoy asking the questions. So these are thoughts about the job, on the job, so to speak. Hi, how slow are you in delivery? He says really slowly. Are you one of those actors, like myself, who can fall into the trap of being incredibly laboured on the delivery of language because you somehow think it gives it greater depth and higher stakes emotionally and everything else? Are you one of those actors who thinks that maybe hanging around a bit and putting pauses in where they're not necessarily supposed to be or not necessarily written into the rhythm of the language? Are you one of the actors who does that, believing that somehow there will be a dramatic depth to the scene through silence? Thinking about Shakespeare a lot this week, and Peter Hall, the late great Peter Hall, who created the Royal Shakespeare Company, talked about that lovely line in Hamlet where we get a piece of Shakespeare's mindset on line delivery when Hamlet says to the players, speak the speech, I pray you, trippingly on the tongue. Peter Hall would suggest that that is one of Shakespeare's highest priorities for his actors delivered through the mouth of Hamlet, and that is to basically get on with it. I remember at drama school being told quite often not to assume that the audience were with you, but actually I think from experience it's quite the opposite. I think we need to assume that the audience are cleverer than we give them credit for. I think we need to assume that if we speak with sincerity, if we are connected, if we understand what it is that we are saying, and we drive through the thought life, i.e. get on with it, the audience will catch up. In fact, it probably keeps them on their toes. I think their ears become hungrier. I'm hesitating to say the faster we go, because fast is probably a really bad note. I'll tell you who said it better. Not than Peter Hall, but said it better than me. A brilliant actor called Jimmy Hayes that I've worked with a number of times. And he wrote a great book called Shouting in the Evenings. It's a fabulous book. Jimmy, when we were doing The Tempest together, talked about grace and pace. It was such a lovely phrase, grace and pace. Effectively what he was saying was, we as classical actors, and I would say actors using any kind of text or language, should move forward with drive but lightly. So not labouring anything, not being super heavy, not putting massive pauses in like Joey and Friends doing smell the fart acting, but just driving through the thought life until it appears to be written into the language, or a moment develops between you and the other actor where a brief pause is filled suddenly with meaning and depth because it's a rarity and it actually means something. So grace and pace. The Italians have a little phrase for people with style, and the Italian style can often be multi-layered and quite eclectic and interesting. And the phrase is sprezzatura, sprezzatura, and what it means is studied carelessness. Studied carelessness. I think that's great, particularly when it comes to speaking Shakespeare. So to be that well versed, pardon the pun, that the language and the rhythm of the language is really inside your body. You've done all your homework so well, so that when you come out and begin to speak the speech, it happens with grace and pace and sprezzatura, studied carelessness. It seems to trip off the tongue, as Hamlet would say.